What's up guys, Jake Hunt from Fitness Culture. Today we're gonna be going over some techniques that you can use to help clear up your elbow pain. So let's get into it. Okay, so when we think about elbow pain, there's a couple of things that we're gonna want to attack as far as soft tissue work. So we're gonna start off our routine today with soft tissue work. So we're gonna be working out our forearm. The muscles of our forearm attach on the humerus, all right? So obviously that's gonna lead to elbow pain for some people. All the gripping that we're doing all the time, there's not much time spent actually working these muscles in flexion and extension, doing that with your wrist. And then also we're gonna clear up the bicep and then work on the tricep as well today, all right? So one of the things that I like to do is just do some rolling out with the barbell, okay? So you're gonna grab a barbell. You can use the bench just because it's easier to set up like this. You can also just lay down on the floor and do it that way as well. You're just gonna spend some time just working out that tissue of the forearm, all right? So you'll be in a supinated position, and then you'll also flip over, pronated. And this one is really what probably is gonna hurt the most for people. Typically, a lot of big guys, you can drop them to their knees just by putting their thumb right there in their forearm because it hurts so bad, all right? So spend some time, work that tissue out with the barbell. If this isn't enough, even for me right now, I haven't been really taking care of mine like I should, and so it's pretty painful right here. But to make it even a little bit more pressure, you're just gonna drop down to the actual handle of the barbell, and that's gonna add more pressure there. And honestly, that does work a lot better, and you're able to control it just a little bit better just by rolling the barbell back and forth like that. And then if you wanna add even more pressure, you can just slide like a 10-pound weight at the end of this barbell right here. Next, what we'll do is just work down into the bicep right here. It's the same way you would just for your forearm. Just work through that. Typically, we spend anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 minutes in an area, just depending on how you feel for that day. And again, I didn't mention this earlier, but these are just things that you can do, even just for 30 seconds, really quick. When you come in every day, especially if you're having pain, you don't need to hammer these things for an entire hour, you know, just come in, work them out, and then move on to your lift. All right, now we're gonna be doing some soft tissue work to end our soft tissue routine of the tricep. And this is my favorite one to do with the tricep. So it's kind of, I don't know if you've ever heard of active release, but I was training at a training facility that I used to work out at once. I used to get a lot of active release done, and one of my favorite ones was an elbow technique that he would do, where he'd push his thumb into my elbow, he'd press through the back of my tricep as I'm flexing, he's pressing and then dragging through the tricep right here. Helps break up that tissue quite a bit. Being able to do that yourself and not have someone else do it for you is very valuable. And so what I started doing was just doing it on a barbell. So usually I'll start off, I mean, you can start off with no weight right here as well, and just kind of warm your tricep up a little bit, and then just roll back and forth. Like even right now, just that's painful for me. So if it's super painful, just doing that, you can just do that for the day too. Just roll it out a little bit. Don't put too much weight on it, and then just get ready for some stretching that we're gonna do later in the routine. But if you really wanna work into it, what I normally do is grab a dumbbell. You don't have to go very heavy right here. You'll start right here at the elbow. You're gonna press down into it, and as you press down, adding that weight, you're gonna curl up and slide through that tricep, nice and slow, just like that, and then just reset back to the top of the elbow. Slide, slide, slide. So you only need to do this a few times, and it's gonna do a really good job just opening that tricep up. All right, now we're gonna be moving into the stretching portion of this routine. So now we're gonna just focus on stretching the muscles of our forearms here. We'll start here in this position. On these, you really wanna think about opening your hands up nice and wide, and then you're just gonna sit down into a deep stretch right here. So again, you can spend about 30 seconds, or you can take it up to a minute if you want. Just spend some time here. Once you're done with that, you're gonna flip over, and we're just gonna go with the back side here. And this is one that I typically don't see people doing very often. And if you don't do it very often, you're definitely gonna feel a stretch all the way up into the muscles that attach into your elbow right here. It should feel pretty good. I mean, it probably might hurt a little bit, but just spending some time here, really thinking about, I like to think about trying to twist myself into the bench right here, and it's gonna get you a really good stretch. Spend some time there. And then the next one is gonna be stretching out our biceps. So you'll flip around on the bench. You're gonna straighten your arms. And then just depending on how flexible you are, like for me right now, I'm getting a pretty good stretch in my biceps here. But if you slide out further and sit down a little bit, you'll deepen the stretch. So spend about a minute right here. And then when you're done there, we're just gonna go into a bench dip style of stretch. So we'll sit down on the bench, sit down nice and deep. For this one, I typically like to work back and forth and just spend some time getting as deep as elbow bend as I can. So spend some time on that left arm, 30 seconds to a minute, and then pop over to that right arm, 30 seconds to a minute over here. All right, the last thing we're gonna do in the routine is actually just train some of the muscles that we just worked on, soft tissue work and lengthening a little bit, all right? So the first one's gonna be our forearms. One thing that when you have elbow pain, typically a lot of people aren't actually working that pronation and supination of the forearm right here. I think that's gonna help out a lot. So we usually start off with that. You can just grab a dumbbell like this, or if you have something where you can actually extend it a little bit further and get some more pressure here on the dumbbell, that's great too. But just pin your elbow down and you'll just work back and forth, just like this. Try to get a good stretch. Sometimes I'll just take the dumbbell down, stretch it even further, work it around, make sure it comes all the way back, just like that. So just working supination, pronation when you're done there. So just about like 20 reps back and forth, which is gonna count as a rep. When you're done there, we'll work the flexors of the forearm, just let it come all the way down, and then just curl it all the way back up, just like this. Again, you can just hit about 20 reps. You can also just hit the extensors doing it this way. Personally, a way that I like to do it, it's definitely helped clear up my elbow pain, probably more than anything that I've done, is just gonna be learning to be able to do a push-up off the backside of your wrist like that, just to strengthen those wrists right there, right? So you can start off by just, really where you're gonna wanna start. When I first show people this, they're like, oh, I'll never be able to do that, but you can definitely do it, because I didn't think I would be able to either. All right, so start off just with your hands here, and you'll just literally just pop down like this, bend the elbows all the way, and then come back up, right? So it's basically just the back of the wrist push up. Once you start feeling a little bit better with it, you can just go into a knee push up. You'll just pop down, and then just press up like this. And then eventually being able just to come up onto your feet and doing the routine just on the back of your hands, just like that. So that's the way that I like to hit the extensors there. It gets a really good stretch, a nice active stretch right there, and then you're exploding through. So it's just, honestly, that's been one of the biggest tools that's gotten rid of my elbow pain throughout the years. All right, the last things we have in the routine today are just going to be some bench dips. So since we're already in the bench dip position, we're just gonna get a nice deep elbow bend, get as deep as you can, and then you'll just press it back out. Hitting about 15 to 20 reps. Again, getting it as deep as elbow bend as you possibly can on this one. And then when you're done with that, the very last thing we're gonna do today, not that we're already not doing enough of this in our workout, is just some curls. And I like to do Zottman curls the best, just because you are gonna do a supination to a pronation. And I feel like just adding these into the program in general will help clear up some elbow pain, but just on our elbow pain routine day, I like to add these just at the end of the day. Again, just about 15 to 20 reps on the Zottman curls to finish it off today. All right, guys, that wraps it up for today's elbow pain routine. This is more of a routine for someone that's really putting a lot of time in the gym, has a lot of muscle. If you have a really bad elbow injury, the last thing you're gonna wanna do probably is light it up worse by putting a barbell on it and just grinding through it, all right? So make sure to be safe with this. Don't be too aggressive to start off, kind of ease your way into it. We're gonna put a description of the entire routine just down below, so you don't have to watch through the whole thing if you wanna remember how to use it. Anyway, hope you guys liked it. Try it out, let me know what you think, and let me know what you want me to cover next. Thanks.